Okay, in this video we'll discuss the cell references, types of cell references. Okay, basically there are four types of cell references. What are cell references? That already we have discussed. The cell reference, okay, cell references are the addresses of the cell or range of cells that are referred in functions of formula contained in other cells. So for example, okay, here I have a data like 10, here I have a 20, somewhere here I want to calculate the sum. That is, first reference I am using is A4, okay, plus B4. This is another reference. So the reference is basically used to look for the data, okay, in a formula. So in this formula I am not using 10 plus 20. Just you observe here. What I am using, its reference I am using A10, A4 plus B4. It is called as a reference. I am not using a value here. I am using its reference. So remember that when it is better to use the references of the cell, not the data of the cell. Okay. See, the 10 is the data of the cell and its address is A4. 20 is the data here in this cell, but its address is B4. So addresses are used in formulas. They are given here. The cell references are the addresses of a cell or a range of cell or group of cells, you can say, that are referred in formulas, okay, functions of formulas contained in other cells, Okay, there are four types of cell references, like absolute reference, relative reference, mixed reference, and circular reference. Each one we'll see in detail. Okay, so first, okay, suppose for example here we have we'll just show you the example. With example I will discuss absolute reference. First is the absolute reference. Okay, under cell addresses are different types. Four types are there for the cell addresses. In that, first one is absolute reference. Absolute reference is the reference where the exact cell address is considered in a formula, regardless of the position of the cell containing the formula in a worksheet. That means what? Absolute address. It is absolute address. It is the exact address which is constant, which will not change. Okay. If you copy the formula from one location to another location, like for example, I will show you here. Here we have 10, 20, 15. Okay. Other side we have some values like 3, 5, 7. These are the values. Now I want to add these values. So suppose if I add using absolute reference, just you observe. This is for absolute one. I will show you with side by side example. It is easy to compare the things. So first I am using here absolute referencing. I will show you how it works. Okay. Absolute referencing. So under absolute referencing, suppose I have two columns, column A and column B, where we have two values. These are values 1, value 2. That also I will show you. This is value 1 and these are value 2. And here we have a result, that is adding these two numbers. Now I will use the formula over there. You can just observe how it works. Okay, I will use a formula equal to, I want to add 10 and 3. So it can be like A3 plus B3. Okay. Then press enter key. It will add these two numbers. Okay. This way we add normally the numbers. But absolute reference is basically fixed. Okay. They are not changing. They are not these are constant. Okay. Absolute reference. So for absolute referencing, we basically use the dollar symbol. Like for example, $A, directly we don't write A3, B3. We have to make use of like $A, $3, $B, dollar symbol is used, $B, $3. This way, this particular address is called as absolute reference, where if you are using dollar symbol before the column name, dollar symbol before the row name, that reference becomes absolute reference. Remember that. Just you put the dollar symbol, it will become absolute. Okay. Now if I press enter key, it will give me the result 13. Okay. But if I want to copy this formula to rest of the cells, like here, if I want same results here, I want calculations, 20 plus 5, 15 plus 7, these calculations I want. So just need to keep, here you can see one dot, you keep your cursor on that dot, okay, click over there and drag and release the button. Okay. Now if you observe here, no, what it is showing me other results, first is 13, that is correct. But second also it is showing me 13, third also it is showing me 13. Okay. Why it is so? Because if you observe, no, here you observe this formula. Okay. Next, formula remains same. Okay, formula remains same. It will not change. Okay, that's why this particular reference is called as absolute reference, where you are using dollar symbols. Okay, in case of absolute reference, if we copy a formula in one cell to another cell, the cell address in the formula remains constant. It will not change. Okay, because the cell reference or cell address is not changing, the results also not change. Results will change only when the formula gets changed. Formula remains rigid, it remains absolute, it will remain exact. Okay, then results also remain exact. Results also will be unchanged. So such type of references where to use I will show you later on. Okay, this is the reference. Okay, which is called as the absolute reference. So they have given example also here. So just you have to use the dollar symbol before column name and row name. Okay, so this is one example over there. We'll go for the next relative reference. Second one is the relative reference. So if you observe here, relative reference is the reference where the cell address is based on relative position of the cell containing the formula in a worksheet. So basically relative reference is the reference where the cell address is based on relative position of the cell. So it depends on the position of the cell. First position, the formula will be different. Second position, the formula will be different. Okay. And third position, the formula will automatically change. There is change in the formula related to the position of the cell. It's called as relative reference. Relative reference is a reference where the cell address is based on relative position of the cell containing the formula in a worksheet. The relative cell reference will be in the form A1, B1. There is no dollar symbol. Okay, remember that. Dollar symbols are not there in case of relative referencing. So I will show you here how to use the relative referencing. Okay, so it is a relative reference. Suppose we have here two values, V1 and V2, and we have a addition of these numbers. Okay, like that we have some numbers here, 10, 20 and 15, and here we have some values like 3, same values I will take, so better for comparison, 5 and 7, 3, 5 and 7. Now I will write a formula for addition here. So the formula will be equal to, so remember that whenever you are writing a formula, first thing you have to mention is equal to sign. If you are writing a number, no need to write any symbol, any equal to symbol. When you are writing, when you are typing label, see three types of data is there, cell data. Okay, one is label, one is value, other one is formula. For labels and values we don't use equal to sign. Only for formulas we use equal to sign. Equal to sign mentions, it tells Excel that we are entering the formula. So first you have to mention equal to sign. Equal to sign, it suggests this is the formula. So after that I have to mention the references, which numbers I want to add. Suppose I want to add 10, so it will become E3 plus F3. So when I press enter key, it will show me 13. Okay, and same formula if you copy to the rest of the cells, it will give me different results. Okay, how the results have changed? You just observe the formula. The first formula I have entered is E3 plus F3. If you come down, it will become E4 plus F4 because it is row number 4. So it is related to this row. This formula is related to this row. If you come little bit one more step down, the formula will change to E5 plus F5. Like this, it changes related to the position. So E3 F3, E4 F4, next is E5 F5. As the formula changes, the values or the results also get changes. So here in this case, formula remains same. It will not change. It is called as absolute. And here formula will keep on changing according to the position of the cell. It is called as relative referencing. Okay, understood this? In case of relative referencing, if you copy a formula in one cell to another, the cell address in the formula changes. And this change depends on the position of the copied cell relating to the cell reference contained in the formula. Okay, they're giving some examples. Okay, we come to know that the relative reference, okay, Excel references by considering the position of the copied cell with respect to the data in the formula in a worksheet, while in absolute referencing, the position is ignored. Okay, there is, see here, this formula is ignoring the position. Okay, it is fixed to these two values only. It is not changing its position from these two values. That's why you are getting only 13, 13, 13. So it remains fixed and it keeps on changing according to the position. That is called as the relative referencing. So next level of next type is we have mixed reference. Mixed reference means what? Here two things are there. Every reference contains column name and row name. Okay, column name and the row name. So if you make both the column and row fixed, it becomes absolute. If you make both the columns and rows, okay, free, okay, then it becomes relative. But if you want to mix absolute one, relative one, okay, for example, I will show you that also. Here we'll take for mixed reference. It is better for understanding. Mixed reference. Mixed reference, suppose we have two values here, V1, V2, and somewhere here addition. I will copy these same things. Okay. Next, you can use Control C, Control V for copy and paste. I will show you mixed reference, how mixed reference looks like. So equal to, I am entering a formula here, equal to, so A9, 10 is present at which address? A9. Okay, that means this particular address 10 is present. So what is mixed? You know, $A, so I am using here absolute reference for column. Okay, 9. 9 is the name of the row, but I am keeping that row relative. Okay, but column I am making absolute. See, only $1 symbol I am using. Okay, if there are $2 symbols, both to column and row, it will become absolute. If you are using only one, either to column or to row, it will become mixed. Okay, so plus $A, B, I think B3 is present at B9. Okay. Then you press enter key, it will give you 13. If you drag it, so you are getting 25, 22. So you are mixing here. See, if you just observe the formula here, $A9, this much is absolute. and this is relative. So you are mixing absolute with relative in a single, okay, in a single reference. In this single reference, actually the reference is A9, but you are keeping dollar symbol before A. So A becomes absolute, 9 becomes relative. So absolute and relative you are mixing. So you just observe other formulas. So this one, if you come down, so you kept rows relative, no? So it will change from 9 to it will become 10, then from 10 to it will become 11. Okay, because of that changes, the results also change. Okay, because of that the results also change. Okay, like this. Sometimes you can make, okay, other example also I will show you. So I will write one more formula here, equal to, in this case I will make column as relative but row as absolute. Dollar symbol I will keep to the row name, plus B $9. In this case you will get 13. Okay, but if you drag this formula you will get 13, 13, 13. What is happening here? Okay, first value is correct, first result is correct. Okay, then second, if you come down here, it is A9, B9. 9 you have made fixed, you kept dollar symbol over there. So dollar symbol don't allow that particular row or column to change. So it will become 9 only. It will remain 9 only here also. So if formula is not at all changing, then results also not change, isn't it? So if you're mixing means what? Either you can keep absolute and relative, or relative or absolute. Okay, either like this. So that is called as mixed reference. And last one we have is, okay, you can observe here $A1, where $A the column is absolute and 1 the row is relative. Okay. Last one we have is circular reference. Circular references are little bit different, okay, which are not good to use. Okay, I will show you that what is the problem. It creates errors. Circular reference. So in case of circular reference, suppose you have two values. I will copy these same things. Okay, select this, press Ctrl C, keep it here where you want, Ctrl V. Okay, it will give you the copy of that. Add. So yeah, here I want to add. See, suppose this cell is G9. Okay, on this cell I want to write one formula. Suppose I am writing a formula like this, equal to E9 plus F9 plus G9. What I am doing here, just you observe here, I am using where I am present in G9. I am typing this formula on the cell G9. Okay, so G9 equal to E9 plus F9 plus G9. This is called as circular reference. If you are referring same cell, okay, in your formula again. So you can observe here, when a formula refers back to its own cell. So if a formula refers back to its own cell, either directly or indirectly, it is called as circular reference. Now here I am using circular reference because in a formula I am using G9. I am typing formula in a G9 and I am referring G9 in the same formula. Then it will create an error. Just see a circular reference warning. You cannot use. It is something like you are sitting on a branch of tree and you are cutting the same branch, okay, from the other side. Okay, it is something like that. So it is not good for practicing circular references. Okay, these are called as circular references which are erroneous. Okay, so it will not give you correct results. So such type of references comes under circular references. When a formula refers back to its own cell, either directly or indirectly, it is called as a circular reference. So hope you understood these four types of cell references. What is cell reference? It is basically address, and addresses can be written with four different types: absolute, relative, mixed and circular. Absolute is fixed. It will not change. Columns are also fixed. Rows are also fixed. Relative, it is allowed to change the position of the formula. Position, according to the position, it is allowed to change the formula. Okay, one more we have is mixed reference. Mixed reference where we have some absolute columns, relative row, sometimes relative columns, absolute row. Okay. Circular reference, when a formula refers back to its own cell, okay, directly or indirectly, it is called as circular reference, which creates errors in the formula. Hope you understood this. This completes your first unit. You go through these videos. If you are finding any difficulties, okay, you can share these things, okay, on a WhatsApp group, you can see. Okay, I will send you these videos and links also. Hope you understood these things. This completes your first unit. Okay, around 3-4 videos are there here for the first unit. So just go through that. Okay.